What is going on, guys? Reflex here. So with under 4 months into the release of Kingdom Hearts 3, there's been one word that's been thrown around quite a bit lately and is making people worried for Kingdom Hearts 3 as a whole, and that word is floaty. And I can only imagine that the debate on the floaty combat topic will continue to be talked about more and more as the release of Kingdom Hearts 3 inches closer. And to be honest, I wasn't planning on making a video on this, but after watching a few people talk about this and then talking about it with my friends, I decided to finally put my input on the topic. But before I even get started with this, I am not going to go full on in depth like even in past games and compare everything, because I'm just going to leave that to the experts. Like for instance, if you guys want to see a video like that, I suggest go watching Prodigy XCD. He made a great video talking about the floaty debate and whether or not it's a problem, and it was a 15-minute discussion which I enjoyed quite a bit, and it enlightened a lot about this whole entire subject as a whole, and I agree with a ton of it. But if you guys want to see a video like that where he goes full on in depth, I'd suggest checking that out instead first and then come back to this video. Now, this whole floaty combat in KH3 sprouted about back in May at the Kingdom Hearts 3 premiere event when the selected got to play the demo for the game. And after many people got to play it, overall the feedback was great about the game. Most people were saying how fun the game was and how smooth it felt, but with loads of praise comes critiques as well. And the one critique that everyone had in common was how the game felt floaty. Now, I have not played the demo to give a personal opinion on my experience with the game, but I've watched plenty of gameplay over and over to give a good enough opinion of my analysis over it. Now, from all the gameplay we've seen, it does seem like the floatiness of the combat has gotten a little better. I mean, like slightly, not even a big amount, but just slightly better. But it is still there, and it is very visible in some situations. Like the floaty combat looks worse in some situations more than others. But this whole debate on the subject is whether or not it will be an issue to the overall game and whether or not it will make the game less fun and hinder the experience. And in my opinion, it's like a yes or no 50-50 type deal, because from what I can see, even with the floatiness of the combat, it still looks smooth and fun to play. But with that being said, though it still looks fun, that does not mean that the floaty combat shouldn't be fixed, because fixing the floaty combat would make the game even better than it already is. And it'd make it better in numerous ways, like for speed running, I mean just playing it casually. I mean, it would just make the game better all around. But I will say the main thing that bothers me about the floaty combat is the fact that in some situations it almost seems like the gravity doesn't apply to Sora. And this is what I was talking about when I said some situations make the floaty combat look worse than others, and this is talking about the aerial enemies. Now, sometimes watching the combat, you would think that Sora is just flying around and launching his way towards each enemy without even falling a bit, as if he can actually fly. And sometimes the combo times in these situations are so short that Sora can just start his combo again and retain where he is in the air, and you can just repeat this cycle if you so please. And you could see this a lot in some of the Pirates of the Caribbean gameplay, as well as Frozen's. Frozen's where I caught it more, because back in KH1, when you were to fall on top of an enemy, you'd actually you'd clip beside them and just hurry up and fall to the ground. But in this game, when you fall on top of an enemy, it's as if you can balance yourself on a random hitbox and just float up there. So that's kind of where it gets to the point where you just start seeing this floaty combat extremely just to an exaggeration, as if you can fly. And that is really what I don't like. But as I said, as long as they even tweak that aspect even a little bit, it'll be a great improvement. But in my opinion about this whole topic is that everything will be fine. There's no need to worry, because Square has under 4 months to work on something that they could have already fixed for all we know, because it has been the same demo that people have been playing from what I've heard. So other than that small fix to the floaty combat that people said it had in the E3 demo, the demos that have been at the recent events are probably the same and probably haven't had any major updates, so there obviously isn't going to be any changes in the combat just yet. So just have trust in Square, because everything will be fine. But in my opinion, I feel like the floaty combat issue is an issue that can be fixed, but it's not a major issue. There's a few other issues in the combat that I feel like need to be fixed almost even more than the floaty combat. Like for instance, the zoning. Like back in KH1 and KH2, you could auto lock onto heartless that were in front of you that you could see, and that'd be the only ones you attack. But if they're off screen, you won't attack them, you'll just be swinging at the air. But what I've seen from KH3, some of KH3's demo, is that when you swing at heartlesses, sometimes when you don't even see one on the screen, Sora will randomly snap to the target, and it's giving me the vibes of Final Fantasy 15. And for all I know, maybe it was just an accidental mistake. Maybe he turn the camera really quick, but it seems like Final Fantasy 15 where you could just tap a button and hit every single enemy in any direction possible without even turning your camera at all. And I hope that's not the case, because with that, just pressing one button the whole entire time, it gets repetitive and boring, and I don't want that to happen to Kingdom Hearts 3, just for the reason that, you know, this is the game that I really want to be the best. And yeah, you might say, well, all Kingdom Hearts have been just pressing one button, and while that's true, in previous Kingdom Hearts, you feel as if you're controlling Sora 100%. Every attack you're doing is because of you and all that. But in Kingdom Hearts 3, the way it's looking like, for instance, in Final Fantasy 15, you don't feel like you're controlling Noctis 100%. Like, I feel like you're controlling him 50%, and then all the cool stuff he's doing in the air and all this and that, that's like the other 50% of just, you know, the game doing it itself. So I really don't want that to be the case in Kingdom Hearts 3. But those are the two issues I'd want them to fix, even though, I mean, they're really not even a big deal, either of them, because, I mean, I enjoyed Final Fantasy 15, so if the combat really took after that, I wouldn't be too mad. But let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think of the floaty combat topic. Does it bother you? Does it not bother you? Do you not just care at all? Or even tell me what is an issue that you've seen in Kingdom Hearts 3 that you think needs to be fixed that no one's talking about. Well, if you guys did enjoy this video, if you did, leave a like, subscribe, and you guys know the drill. I will see you guys later.